So we move to the next point, 2.25. يلا بقى.
Can we have the right-hand side? No, first, hosting of the 8th edition of the Africa Sanitation Conference, Africa San 7, by the Republic of Ghana. Can I have the right-hand side, please? The decision, the Executive Committee, 9.1, recalls AMCAO decision Africa San 7, 2023, Swakopmund 3, acknowledging the Republic of Ghana's undertaking to host the 8th edition of the Africa Sanitation Conference. 9.2 takes note of the progress reported and strategies in place to ensure a successful Africa San 8 that will transition the unfinished sanitation and hygiene related business of the Africa Water Vision 2025 into the post-2025 era. 9.3 urges collaboration with the member states, the RECs, the AUC, the African Development Bank, and other relevant regional institutions to support the preparations and honor the invitation and appeal of the Honorable Host Minister to make Africa San 8 a demonstration of ideas that work. 9.4 calls for broad participation and the involvement of all stakeholders in both to build up to conference and the implementation of its outcomes thereafter. I submit, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Any comment here? Decision approved. Next.
Sorry, excuse me. Submission of the 2024 annual report of the submission on the implementation of the July 2008 Assembly Declaration on the Sharm el-Sheikh commitments for accelerating the achievement of water and sanitation goals in Africa. Proposed decisions. The Executive Committee urges member states that are yet to submit the report to finalize the input of data by 24 October 2024 to ensure that the 2024 report on the implementation of the July 2008 Sharm el-Sheikh commitments for accelerating the achievement of water and sanitation goals in Africa reflects the current state of progress and offers a representative picture of what has been achieved and challenges being faced towards achieving the water and sanitation commitments and goals. 10.2 tasks the Secretariat to finalize the analysis of the data by 16 November 2024 and to circulate to Member States the draft report for validation and finalization before submission to the Africa Union Commission. 10.3 further tasked the Secretariat to avail the final report to the African Union Commission Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy, and Sustainable Environment for processing through the relevant organs of the Commission responsible for preparing and submitting documents to the AU heads of states and government. 10.4 enjoins AUC, ARBE, to undertake all required processes to present the report through the relevant organs of AU for the consideration of the Assembly of the Heads of States and Government of the African Union. I submit, Chair.
Any comment?
Mr. President, I take it as implicit that before we go to the Commission, it goes to the General Assembly of AMCO.
Which point?
That is that we validate the report.
10.2 you mean?
That's to finalize for validation and finalization. and submission.
Validation and finalization by the EXCO before submission to the African Union.
The EXCO or the General Assembly, one of the two.
Validation and finalization by the EXCO or by the General Assembly, AMCA General Assembly.
Not necessarily.
Mr. President, we have a decision already that the General Assembly must meet and look at the policy and the roadmap for the policy, so they can just as well also look at this report validated and submitted.
Before submission to the African Union Commission. Is that okay?
Yes.
Any other comment? Okay, decision 10 approved. Next.
The 2023 Annual External Audit Report and Financial Progress Report from January 2024 to 31st of August 2024. Proposed decision. The Executive Committee takes note of the audit report of the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2023. 11.2 takes note of the progress made in the implementation of the auditor's recommendation raised in the 2023 management letter. 11.3 directs the Secretariat to implement the auditor's recommendations raised in the 2023 management letter and report progress at the 14th ordinary session of the Governing Council. 11.4 approves the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2023 and discharges the accounting officer accordingly. 11.5 takes note with appreciation of the continued support of the Federal Republic of Nigeria through the Ministry of Water Resources towards the core running costs of the Secretariat. 11.6 appreciates the Republic of Benin, Republic of Kenya, Republic of Namibia, Republic of Senegal, Republic of South Africa, and the United Republic of Tanzania for being up to date with their financial obligations to AMCAO as of 31st of December 2023. 11.7 commends the Republic of Angola, the Republic of Botswana, Republic of Burkina Faso, Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, Arab Republic of Egypt, Republic of Ethiopia, Kingdom of Eswatini, Republic of Gabon, Republic of Ghana, Republic of Madagascar, Republic of Mali, Kingdom of Morocco, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Republic of Rwanda, Republic of Sierra Leone, Republic of Uganda, Republic of Zambia, and Republic of Zimbabwe for substantially setting their arrears as of 31st December 2023. 11.8 urges member states that are in arrears to settle their obligations, which currently stand at 5,712,275.89 US dollars, and takes further 11.9 takes further note of the financial progress report for the period up to end of August of the financial year 2024. I submit, Chair.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Under 10.1,
في حتة اللي هو بيقول للإكسكو بتاعت دلوقتي.
sorry, where are we? Submission?
No, it's probably the 3.
It's 11, no?
11.3 probably.
11.1.
1?
I believe we should recognize the fact that we received an unqualified audit report and that we congratulate the Secretariat for that. And I believe that we have to approve the report instead of noting it. We cannot take note of the audit report. As the EXCO, I believe we approve it. 11.1 should include first the recognition that it is an unqualified audit opinion, and then secondly that we approve it.
بتتكتب كده. لازم حد يقرأ. بيقدموه لنا الريبورت ممضي من ارنست اند يونغ. فبيقول ارنست اند يونغ فرق كبير. فهم بيكتبوه لنا، مش هنعرف ندخل احنا فيه، ولكن الاوديت بيقدم ريبورت بيقول ان هو اوكي.
Are you fine? He added one 11.1 and 11.2 now, separated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
Any other comment? No? Fine. Still reading? Decision 11 approved.
The revised AMCA work plan and budget for financial year 2024, proposed decisions. The Executive Committee approves the updated work plan for the financial year 2024 and the corresponding budget amounting 145 US dollars. 2.11 tasked the Secretariat to review the rules and regulations of AMCA to determine if the request can be accommodated. In that part, we need, allow me, Your Excellencies, to read the left-hand side in this regard. Can we start from the start? No, we can skip all this. Yes. Furthermore,
You see, this is one of these things that
yes, the Secretariat apprised the TAC on the relocation of the Secretariat as follows. That the property owner at number 11 TW Danjuma Street, Asokoro, where the Secretariat is currently domiciled, has sold the property and gave notice to AMCAO through the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation of Nigeria to vacate the property on or before 31st December 2024. That the Secretariat, working together with the FMRWS, has identified another property at number 15 Thomas Sankara Street, Asokoro, Abuja, as the new place where the Secretariat could be domiciled. That a deposit of US dollars 37,500 is required to secure the property, and that Treasury has not yet made the funds earmarked for rent for the Secretariat to the FMWRS. That the FMWRS has requested the Secretariat to pay for the rent using other internal sources of funds pending reimbursement of the same by FMRWS once the Treasury makes the funds available to the Ministry. Against this backdrop, the Secretariat presented a request for no objection to draw a total sum of 37,500 US dollars from the Member States' contributions reserve account to pay for rent for the new property at number 15 Thomas Sankara Street, Asokoro, Abuja, pending defrayment of the same by the FMRWS. The request for no objection is appended as Annex 3C. Can we go back to the proposed decisions? Tasks the Secretariat. Regarding this point, we have 12.1.1. The Executive Committee tasked the Secretariat to review the rules and regulations of AMCAO to determine if the request can be accommodated and report to TAC. 12.1.2, the amount of 37,500 can only be spent on TAC approval, and 12.2 acknowledges with appreciation the financial contribution from the member states, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, the European Union, and the German Federal Ministry through GIZ, the Global Environmental Facility, through the Food and Agriculture Organization, and the International Water Management Institute, and the African Development Bank through the Africa Water Facility, towards the implementation of the 2024 Annual Work Plan. 12.3, tasked the Secretariat to intensify resource mobilization efforts and provide an update at the 14th Ordinary Session of the Governing Council of AMCAO. I submit, Chair.
Your Excellencies, the AMCAO President, and other members of Council, I want to sincerely appreciate everyone here for our contributions and cooperation in the development of our continent, Africa. If you may recall, from the institutionalization of AMCAO, with Nigeria made the host country, Nigeria has been doing very well in terms of its obligation, in terms of its counterpart payment, and other responsibility in terms of taking care of the Secretariat and the residence of the Executive Secretary. Coming to the point on board, we are currently working on having a permanent and befitting Secretariat for AMCAO in Nigeria. That is what we are working on now. The issue on board now, the Secretariat, the property where the Secretariat is being domiciled, the owner had an issue and gave us a notice that he needs to sell. And I had no choice but to relocate. And our people worked with the Secretariat and found another place to domicile the Secretariat. So where we are now, we now wrote to the Secretariat that already provisions has been made in the 2024 financial year budget for the payment of this, but as we are yet to finalize, let that funds be drawn from the Secretariat, which is contribution from the member states, and be paid, and then that will be reimbursed. And where we made that request, the Executive Secretary now wrote back to us that that is possible, but can only be done by the approval of the Council. And for that, it will be brought before the Council. And that is why the issue is before the Council. But Council may wish to note the following points. Provisions in the AMCAO financial rules and regulations states under Article 17, which talks about reallocation of funds. One says, the reallocation of financial resources within the approved budget categories shall be authorized by the accounting officer. 2, the accounting officer may reallocate financial resources between budget categories up to 10% of the operating budget of AMCAO to meet certain unforeseen, urgent, and necessary expenditures solely for the furtherance of the objectives of AMCAO. 3, all reallocations between budget categories and above 10% of the operating budget shall be authorized by the Council of Members. 4, the Council of Ministers may, at the request of the accounting officer, authorize transfer of funds as the need arises. The request shall be supported by relevant documents and having regard to actual service needs and requirements, provided sufficient savings can be found within the limit of funds appropriated under the relevant part of the budget. Council may wish to note also that the requested amount of $37,500 falls under the same budgetary provision. Council is therefore requested, in line with Article 17D of the AMCAO Financial Rules and Regulations, approve the payment for the deposit for which the federal government of Nigeria has undertaken to frame before the end of the financial year. The federal government of Nigeria will want to draw the attention of AMCAO Executive Council that for the past 22 years, Nigeria has continued to support the running and servicing of the AMCAO Secretariat, including payment of the rented offices and residence of the Executive Secretary. And this supports Nigeria government is saying they can at no point in time derive from this, but they will only step up as provisions has not been made, and we are now making provision for a permanent and more befitting secretariat for AMCAO, the privilege that has been given to us. I'm therefore appealing and calling on this humble council to please approve our request. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have to mention that Nigeria has been very committed over the previous years, and we highly appreciate the commitment of Nigeria to host the AMCAO and provide the full support, but also the commitment that you also providing to provide a permanent residence for the AMCAO. So we really highly appreciate the role of Nigeria of stabilizing and also sustainably supporting the AMCAO. Comments? Please.
Mr. Chair, well, we all have to appreciate Nigeria's support to AMCAO for a long time. I am happy and comforted by the fact that the recommendation actually says that TIC starts to go through the financial procedures and see exactly what is possible and not, and they then recommend whether we should go ahead or not, and I believe that that is the correct way to do that. So I'm happy with the recommendation.
I think the recommendation is for the Secretariat, not the tax, or? Tasks the Secretariat 12.1.1 to review the rules and regulations of AMCAO to determine if the request can be accommodated and report to the TAC.
Yes, that's...
But this would take time. I think the urgency of this number or this amount, I don't know. I propose, but for discussion, can we delegate the responsibility? Because this is a purely administration issue. Why should they report back to the TAC? When it comes to administration and finance, the TACs are the technical people. This is the pure task of the secretariat. This is not strategic. This is not an agreement. This is a purely financial issue and legal issue. Why don't we task the secretariat to review, and we give the green light in case of it's legal and it's correct, then they proceed. So we don't have to come back to us again. It takes 48 hours to do it, but if they have to come to the tax, it might take a very long time. So please, and then Your Excellency, please.
Mr. President, I have no principal objection. I think they can go ahead. But what the honourable member has informed us, that there is a threshold which the Secretariat can decide and which cannot, and it's the 10%. So we need to have that surety that the amount that is withdrawn is within the threshold that the Secretariat can take a decision.
They take the responsibility of doing it.
Yeah, if it is above 10%, then we must take the responsibility. So we don't know what the threshold is.
Your Excellencies, let me inform again. We wrote to the Executive Secretary, and he found out that there are provisions in the rules and regulations governing this that's giving the power to the accounting officer to pay on the subject to the approval of the council. Yeah. And that is the reason why he now brought it before the council for approval of the council for him to go and do the implementation. In his letter is here with me, where he wrote to us that yes, what we have, our request is in order and the funds are there. But the only condition is that council has to approve for him to implement.
Exceeding the 10%?
No.
Yes.
It's not exceeding.
No, from the operational costs, it's not exceeding.
So if it's not exceeding, why you our approval?
But then we don't have to approve.
No, the request in question.
Because what you were reading is saying in case it exceeds the 10%,
Exactly.
we have to approve. But you are saying it does not exceed.
No,
the
it's the budgetary distance is about, let me read again, it's about 37,000. 37,500.
Yeah, yeah.
Why the budget is 320,314 US dollars. That is the budget. So this request exceeds.
Exceeds. So we have two issues. First, to check the regulations, and this is we can mandate the secretariat or task the secretariat to do it, the legal and financial, and if it exceeds, we can approve now, conditional. If they prove and it is legal action, and financially this budget is available, and if it exceeds, we can approve now, conditional to the review of the secretariat. Just to accelerate, because I know the urgency of this. 15th of December.
Well, President, yes, I know the urgency is there, but do we know what it is comparison to the old rent? Do you know, or do we know what the 37 or the 37 is composed of? We don't know. No, that's when it exceeds. That is why council must then be involved and apply its mind what we are allowing to be paid out of program funds. So that would be my submission. So I think it is good that we have a review process, and it can be done in 2 weeks. There's no issue.
But if they go back to the TAC has to come to the EXCO.
It can be a round-robin decision of the TAC. It can be
So you
online,
mean
they
we
can vote.
delegate the decision to the tax?
The review, whether it is in line with the financial and the legal provisions. That's all.
Wait, let's just been read now. And extra.
Through the chair, Honorable Excellency, if you can just shed some light on what was the previous rent in the premises you're trying to vacate, just for our understanding, a little bit, just some background. What was the approximate rent?
Okay, thank you so much. The difference, there is no difference in the rent. The issue why we are talking about this now is that there was that urgency that the owner of the former property sold something urgently, and there was nothing we can do at that particular point in time. That is the reason why we're talking about that now. We were not relocating because of the payment or because of the price of the property. That's not the issue. The issue is that we are transferring from a particular property to another property, and that needs to be paid, which it was unplanned.
I understand. All I'm asking is, the property that was sold out, how much rent were you paying on the property that you were trying to vacate because it was sold out? What was the rent in that property? So that the new property that you are moving to, whose rent now is that the 7,500 for our clarity in it.
I've answered your question by saying there is no difference in the price. It's the same. The issue why we are moving is because that one was paid, was sold. That is the difference. There is no difference in the money.
But if I understood correct, in the old premises, you were paying a certain amount per month or per year or whatever. So first, you abstract the amount that you are paying anyway because the budget should be available, and then you pay it for the new house. This is because the house is getting more expensive, or they want an advance payment, that's why the money is not available? Just to understand, there is an old premises that you are paying anyway. So the money for the old premises should be available.
Okay, let me repeat again. We have made the budgetary provision for the payment of this annually, which is ongoing. The reason why we are talking about payment at this particular point, we're not actually supposed to pay at this particular point, but the owner of the property sold the property out, the former property out, because of some health challenges, sold the property out and asked us to vacate. So now we are not acquiring a different property now, and the owner of the new property now tells us give us a time frame for which if we don't pay, then it will be given out. And this property is so strategic that we don't want to lose it. We are now, there's a budgetary provision. Okay, let me read the word, something once again.
This 37 is a deposit, or it's a rent starting from the new year, or?
It's a rent.
Rent.
Yes, Your Excellency. It's a rent.
Okay. Which is not available now in the ministry.
It's not available now. It's a procedural, they say, for us to pay.
Okay.
That is why we are saying when this money is being paid, we will now reimburse the Secretariat. Not that the money is not there. The money is there, but there is a process for it. So by the time we wait for that process to complete, we might lose the property.
So, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ce débat est important, certes, il prend aussi du temps, mais il me semble que ce n'est pas vraiment le lieu approprié pour parler aussi dans le détail. Je crois que le Nigeria, que nous remercions pour avoir pris en charge le siège de AMCAO toutes ces années, saura faire ce qu'il faut pour pouvoir trouver une solution à ce problème qui est évoqué. Mais le poser au niveau ministériel ici et prendre autant de temps pour cette question technique que le Nigeria et le secrétariat sans doute pourront régler sur place, peut-être qu'on peut leur laisser la possibilité en donnant des indications pour qu'ils poursuivent les discussions une fois de retour à Abuja et trouver la solution la plus convenable. C'est peut-être mieux que poursuivre cette discussion sur cette question précise qui me paraît un peu inappropriée. C'est mon point de vue. Merci.
I will make a decision for the sake, a proposal for the sake of time, and if you approve it, then we'll proceed. If not, then I would love to listen to other proposal. My proposal that for the urgency of the issue, we approve the issue of exceeding the 10%, which is our responsibility. But the number, the process, the legality, the calculations is the responsibility of the Secretariat to clarify. And in case the number exceeds the 10%, we approve now. And we delegate all other responsibilities to the Secretariat, because this is a purely administration issue. They are coming to us only for the 10% story. And we understand the urgency, and we don't mind to give the permission for the 10%. That's it. That's what they want. But checking the number and checking the details of this and the legal aspects is the responsibility of the Secretariat. That's what I say there. This is my proposal, but if not, please propose another.
I agree with the proposal.
Yeah, Mr. President, I think the urgency of having the ownership of the place, the new place, for us is our focus for the Secretariat to be in that strategic place. That's one. The other aspects of legalities, the Secretariat knows exactly how to recover the money based on the communication from the authority. And the authority is also a member state like us who knows that these are the procedures and they have to deal with it. And there is a document, evidence document from the member state. This should be for us an approval. We should approve the payment as soon as possible, and then the other administrative setup, definitely the Secretariat has to deal with it. We are to give approval. I support the suggestion you gave, President.
I don't want to be difficult, but the approval, of course, has its qualifying clauses and its provisions that are in the financial rules. I also am aware that there is a host agreement that passes certain obligations to the host and accepts certain liabilities from AMCO. I have not seen in that host agreement that AMCO Secretariat is responsible for any costs that concern rent, and it is therefore still my worry that we don't have the whole set of information available. But I will not hold the meeting if the majority is in favor. But I do believe that we should put on record that there are other agreements, like the host agreement, and obligations in the host agreement that we are not, that we are violating in this instance.
That's why I'm not aware of this. You are not aware. He's not aware. We delegate the responsibility to the Secretariat to check. And if the only remaining issue is the approval of exceeding the 10% after checking all the documents and the legality and the host agreement, etc., they don't have to come back to us. We delegate this and we approve only the 10%, but we are not the one to check the host agreement. We are not the one to check the number itself. We are not the one who are going to check the account. We don't know how much in the account. This is 10% or 17%. Yes, the letter is saying that, but we deliver this to the Secretariat, which is part of their job. It's not my job to check the account. It's not my job to calculate the 10%, and it's none of us' job, and even the tax. The tax are the technical people. So this is a purely legal and financial issue that has to be checked by the Secretariat, and if the only request from us is to approve the 10% after making sure that everything is correct, then we approve now the 10%.
I said my say, the decision is yours.
No, the decision is yours, including myself. It's not a decision from the president. This is a collective decision by consensus. Any objection? Can we formulate it? Tasks the Secretariat to review the rules and regulations of the of AMCAO to determine the request can be accommodated. No, we have to continue. If the amount is exceeding the 10%, accommodated. And then we end this sentence in 12.1.1. After accommodated point, and then we full stop, and that's the end of this. To review the rules, to review the amount, rules and regulations, to review the amount, the requested amount, rules and regulations of AMCAO to determine that the request can be accommodated. And then we remove this part. I would remove all the other and then 12.1.2 we remove the numbers, we remove the entire sentence, and we have to give the green light in case the amount exceeds the 10%. If in case, we don't know, in case the requested amount exceeds the 10% off, I don't know what is the clause saying, 10% off, Your Excellency? 10% off of the operational budget. The EXCO gives a permission, approves making the required shift of budget, or no, not shift, to seek EXCO. We are not going to seek. We want to, we want to. No, it's not to seek. we want to make a proposal for the Execo now that it is approved in case the 10% is required. The 12.1.2 has to start with verb because, yeah, approves. It has to be approves. The requested amount, the revised requested amount. In case it exceeds the 10%, of the operational budget, considering the urgency of the matter or whatever. To temporary reallocate. هنحدد. After of the matter, provided that this amount will be reimbursed before the end of the fiscal year 2024. Please mark this part for the council to review. I think the number we want the secretariat to revise. We don't want to put the number here. because we are saying in case it exceeds, so we're just leaving the number and the 10% the responsibility of the Secretariat. So please give feedback if you have on this issue, because it's a decision by consensus. Any comment?
Honourable Chair, I don't want to be holding the consensus, but in that case, to maintain your consensus, I will abstain from that decision.
So how do you want to proceed with this?
No,
Because it's a financial issue. I honestly am not going to take the responsibility to proceed with a financial issue if there is any abstain in the room. Just to be clear, so please make up other proposal. This is a proposal on the screen. Please make another proposal.
Mr. President, I cannot make another proposal. We have said our say, and the majority is of the opinion that we can proceed. So I am opening the door by saying, well, then proceed, but without Namibia. That it doesn't take away the consensus, so you are free to proceed. You have a quorum, you can proceed.
Please.
President, I think the financial issues are administrative. And then the Secretariat is administratively in charge of everything. They are audited. And since there is a provision in the rules and regulations that gives a room for us to decide, and it is within the regulation and within the legal document that have been submitted, it should be okay, because not all of us will accept, but majority, if they accept, our voice could also go, as long as there is already conditions we put in the place, because Secretariat has its official documentation. The member state also courageously presented their case. And this institution has been hosted for the age of the whole secretariat, whole organ of AMCAO. So the risk is that there is no refund. There is no refund, which I don't believe can be happening. So let's take that decision that the Secretariat takes up the same recommendation by the ESCO and keep the reservation of the Namibia. There is no problem. And if there is another country also is adding their reservation, that will be okay. But I think we have to obtain the facility, and the Secretariat move to it.
Please.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. I think for the implementation, we need a report after the ESCO analyze all the documentation, the legality or not. We need a report with the support of all the documentation, host agreement, because I'm looking to the future when the audit, do his job, what is the situation? Yeah. So I think we have to analyze well the legality or not. Yeah. So I think we need to receive the report with the tags if we can go ahead or not.
I'm fine with this proposal, but it is an issue of time. Sorry. To whom? Yani to report to whom? To the EXCO?
No, to the countries through the TAC. Yeah. To the vice chair of the regions, and we will discuss in each region. Yeah.
Sure. Please.
Your Excellency, and the President and Excellencies, for the matter to have been referred to ESCO, it means there was an issue that was identified. But I want to believe, since it was brought before this August committee, you have made a recommendation or an approval to say, let them go ahead with that within the framework of the legal provisions that guide expenses. This one, at least it gives a response to what was recommended to be brought before EXCO. If we just leave it open and or throw it back to them, when they had referred it to the higher body, it might be difficult. They are seeking for a solution. So I believe the way it has been framed, at least it gives the way forward to, or a leeway for the Secretariat to find the provisions within what is allowed under the financial regulation.
So you are in agreement with the written text?
I think I am in agreement, so that
can we remove to report to, because it's complicating the issue. Here, when we say approves the Secretariat's request, this approval is conditional now to review the rules and regulations.
Sudan. Hello. ما شافوه؟
خلي خلص Excuse, this is the highest authority. If we cannot approve, who can approve?
Nobody else.
We are the highest authority. If we cannot approve 37 US, what can we do? It's completely, this is very strange. We are the highest authority. If we cannot approve this money, how we can handle the job? We are, sorry.
Excellencies, through the President, these people came to this house to look for solutions. The TAC, the Secretariat could not help them. And we are the organ that makes decisions, right or wrong. Being on the fence, if we sit on the fence and go around this matter, it's still also a decision, but not a decision that is conclusive. I know we are setting a jurisprudence for the future, but the Secretariat need a place to work. They have other responsibilities that we have allocated them. On this report, where will they work from if we dance around it?
Good. So, consensus on the decision considering what Namibia, the position of Namibia. Any other comment? So decision is taken. Do we have any other points or this was the last one? 3.3.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The AMCA work plan and budget for the fiscal year 2025. The Executive Committee approves the work plan for the financial year 2025 and the corresponding budget amounting to $4,506,576 US, acknowledges with appreciation the financial contribution from the Member States, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, United States Agency for International Development, the EU and BMZ through GIZ, and the Global Environment Facility through the FAO and the International Water Management Institute towards the implementation of the 2025 work plan. Mindful of how critical AMCA work program is in the transition period from the Africa Water Vision 2025 to the post-2025 Africa Water Vision, tasks the Secretariat to intensify the mobilization of partnerships and resources for the implementation of AMCA work program during this transition period and beyond. I submit, Chair.
Comments here? Comment on 13? Decision approved.
Oh, no, there's none. No.
I think we are done with the decisions, but I think Namibia
Any other business?
has topic under any other business regarding the South Africa AIP meeting today.
واضح ملغو. Comments South Africa in collaboration with Senegal, Namibia, and the
Yeah.
High Level Panel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This morning we had a meeting where I think all of us were present with you yourself co-hosting together with South Africa a breakfast exchange where we were informed about the meeting of the G20 to be hosted by South Africa in next year in South Africa. And there was a proposal that was then agreed that we coincide with that G20, a summit on water. Now that was agreed, and we just wanted to propose under any other business that the EXCO takes note of that that proposal and accepts the offer from South Africa to participate in that fashion.
Any comment on that? So the EXCO takes note of the matter that was presented. Okay. So maybe with the TAC chair and the Namibian TAC can just review the phrasing of this decision.
But the important is the concept.
Yeah, but the concept is approved from.
Yeah, that's okay, that's all.
Please.
Yeah, President, in the procedures of the AMCA, we have level of processes that we normally follow. A concept must have been developed, submitted to AMCA Secretariat. They digest, they put it in their own documentation, they send to the TAC 21 days for comments, and then after that it is tabled within the agenda of the TAC. The TAC digests the document, it goes to the processes as put as an undated agenda to the ministers, and then later on it is brought to the level of the ESCO. I think these procedures are very important for us to scrutinize the subject matter and agree upon all levels. So the context, we don't understand very well. Okay, this is the highest level, and it has to have some narrative. I'm not aware whether the rest have the concept note in regards. So it should have been put to the discussion before it is brought for decision at the ESCO level. I submit, Chair.
Please.
Well, it's not my proposal, so I am not fighting for it, but I just want to clarify that it is purely for information purposes. If you don't want to that information, that's fine with me. Don't have it.
Through the President, Excellencies, if there's a process that these things take, why don't we take the process? Because that's why we have a secretariat and we have the TAC. If there's a process, we note it and it is subjected to the process. I think that is the best way. We note it here, but subjected to the process so that the TAC, secretariat and the TAC can advise us, and then the communique can be circulated amongst the honorable members on this table. Thank you.
Is this okay? Because this is only notes. It's not a decision. Please.
Mr. Chair, this is exactly, I understand what the honorable member from South Sudan said we should not do, to task people now to do certain things with a decision. It was just for the purpose of sharing that information with all of us, and we should leave it as that instead of sending tasks. If there is something that comes, we can see how we deal with it. But I agree with him, we have not enough background to even task the TAC to do anything. It is for the information and nothing else.
So I'm fine with this, South Sudan. Is it okay like this? Just notes. Any other comment? So note taken, please.
Chair, sorry. South Africa is not here, but we have here Senegal. Maybe we could hear from Senegal.
No, but it's just a note. We took note. He informed us and we took note of it. It's not a decision, just okay, fine. But you're proposing Senegal to present?
No, to clarify.
We were all there.
Please.
Oui, merci. En fait, je crois que la proposition que vous faites de prendre note règle la question, puisque ce matin, nous avons organisé un déjeuner, un petit déjeuner. On a tous pris part. Cette question a été évoquée et lors de ce petit déjeuner, nous, Sénégal et les autres qui étaient présents, ont confirmé que nous apportons tous notre soutien à l'Afrique du Sud dans cette initiative. Ici, c'est de cela qu'il s'agit. Je pense qu'on peut juste prendre note et apporter ce soutien à l'Afrique du Sud et puis continuer dans cette voie. Parce que ce matin, c'est exactement ce que nous avons dit et on peut juste réitérer ça ici. Merci.
Thank you. Any other comment? So note taken and approved. Any other business? I think this item of the agenda is completed. And we move to the next.
Item number 5, adoption of the proposed decisions of the Executive Committee. The motion to adopt the decisions was accepted by the Executive Committee, done on this, the 16th day of October 2024, as the decisions of the 14th Ordinary Session of the Executive Committee of the Governing Council of AMCAO, held in Cairo, Arab Republic of Egypt on 16th of October 2024, signed for the AMCAO Governing Council, Honorable Professor Dr. Hani Suela, Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Arab Republic of Egypt, and President of the AMCAO Governing Council. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think now, yeah, please.
Yes, President. I think it's okay. The date is there, but the location is not there. So let the location be there. Juba, Cairo alone is not enough. So you mentioned a specific place.
You want to write Triumph Hotel? Oh, really? Are you serious? This is a commercial advertisement of the hotel. Do you have contract with this hotel? I think Cairo is enough and the location is not there. Okay. I think so. We move to the closing session of the ordinary session of the EXCO. Angola is not here. Oh, okay.
Excellency AMCA President, thank you so much.
Sorry, it's just a small procedural thing. We need to make sure that the decisions are as amended, not as proposed. Yes, because we
could change the rules to amend it as it is now.
yes. Yeah.
Adoption of the amended decisions.
Yeah.
Thank you, AMCO President. Through you, allow me to say that we now move to the closing session of the ordinary session of the Executive Committee. And the items that are remaining are 3. But the first one is the vote of thanks. That will be an item to be taken by Angola. And there was also the second item, which was on remarks from the African Union Commission. We don't have the representation of the African Commission, as much as we know that they are present and attending the Africa Water Week. And then after that item, we had the closing remarks by the AMCO President. With your permission, I would seek your indulgence again, Excellency, to grant Angola an opportunity to give a vote of thanks. I submit.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the privilege. I am talking on behalf of my minister. And now, on behalf of AMCAO, and vice chairs of the regions, members of the TAC and the ESCO. I would like to express my thanks to the Egypt government and to the Minister of Water Resource and Irrigation of the Republic of Egypt, and to our tax chair, Madame, I don't remember the name, for this brilliant opportunity and for this brilliant organization. It was a magnificent event. It was very, very, very good stay here in this event, and we hope to continue having a fun in this ancient country. So we wish you all the best and health, and God bless you. Thank you.
The chair and members of council, I want to sincerely appreciate this noble house for the cooperation once again and your contributions, especially for the understanding of the need for us to maintain our secretariat, for us to maintain that home that we have chosen. I thank you so much for all that you have been doing for Africa in the area of water and in various diverse areas. I don't know how to thank you enough. My prayer is that the Lord that keeps us together will continue to unite us and will continue to work in harmony and as a family. For some of us, I will be traveling tomorrow or next. My prayer is that God will return us to our various destinations in peace. Thank you once again.
Okay, so we reached the closing remarks. I would like also to thank all of your excellencies for the very long day and active participation. I think making comments and being active in the meeting has enriched and made the decision more valid and more reliable. And I think that's a positive sign that we are all committed to carefully look at our decisions and review them. And also see that the recommendations for reviewing the governance shows that we are committed to have a stronger and stronger organization every time, and I thank all of you. I would like to thank the Secretariat for their very, very intensive and great effort that you are doing to prepare for this meeting, but also to prepare for the Africa Water Week and support. I thank the TAC members, the TAC chair, for the intensive work that they did over the previous years. But throughout the year, is not only the last 2 years, they were been working very close with the Secretariat on preparing and reviewing and dealing with challenges that we are facing. And I believe that, and I trust we are all committed to have a better governance, more transparent, more reliable, more strong AMCAO, and this is for the communities of Africa and the community of the African people. So I believe that we are all committed to this, and I thank you again. I think it's too late and we need to finish unless there is any issue that you would like to raise. But thank you very much for reaching the final document and final decisions. Thank you for the efforts, and looking forward to meet you in another AMCAO event. Thank you very much. Good night. With this, the meeting is closed.